The Hague, AFP. Dutch prosecutors were on Thursday, November 30, investigating the security lapses that allowed a Bosnian Croat war criminal to commit suicide in front of shocked UN judges, in scenes that have cast a shadow over the court's two-decade legacy. Staff at the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, ICTY, in The Hague had been expecting to spend the next few weeks quietly winding down the court, which closes on December 31, after the judges delivered their final ruling on Wednesday. But Courtroom 1 is now an active crime scene after former Bosnian Croat military leader Slobodan Praljak, 72, tipped a small brown bottle into his mouth and died shortly afterwards in hospital. Initial tests have shown that the substance that was in the glass was a chemical substance which can cause death, prosecutor Marilyn Fickencher, from the prosecution service in The Hague, told AFP. An autopsy will be carried out shortly, as well as a toxicology examination of the body, Fickencher said, adding she could not estimate how long the investigation would take as it was something quite unprecedented. Dutch prosecutors said in a statement late Wednesday for the time being the inquiry will focus on assisted suicide and violation of the Medicines Act. Praljak's last act of defiance was broadcast live around the world and came moments after judges rejected his appeal, upholding his 20-year jail term for atrocities committed in a breakaway Bosnian Croat statelet during the 1990s wars. The shocking images drew the curtain on 2 decades of work at the court, set up in 1993 to try those responsible for the worst atrocities in Europe since World War II. But it remains a mystery exactly what the former theater and movie director, known for his forcible courtroom presence and outbursts, drank and how he managed to evade tight security to smuggle it into the tribunal. There are also questions about how he acquired the substance and if it was in the fortress-like UN detention center in Scheveningen where he was being held, or inside the tribunal building a few kilometers away. Everyone entering the detention center is subjected to security checks irrespective of his or her status, nationality, function, or age, according to the rules. Everyone must pass through scanners, and there may also be a search of clothing. Every item brought to the center or sent by mail is inspected or opened or X-rayed. Defendants are allowed access to their medications administered under the supervision of the chief medical officer. And they are also allowed approved visits from personal doctors. But according to the Dutch NRC Daily, many of the suspects are elderly, like Praljak, and suffering from all sorts of illnesses, and it was not unusual that he could have brought his medication to hearings. On the last day of ICTY proceedings, the judges handed down their final verdict, upholding jail terms ranging from 25 to 10 years in the appeal case of 6 Bosnian Croat political and military leaders. Praljak's death caused shockwaves in Croatia, where he had been considered a hero by some. But Croatian President Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović said citizens had to admit crimes had been committed by fellow Croats in Bosnia.